How's it going, chaps? I'm Fringy, and I'm having a debate with MrNoobTubeGamer about console gaming, PC elitism, and all of that kind of stuff. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, MrNoobTubeGamer. I'm pretty sure a lot of you know who I am already because of the recent controversy I've been involved in, but I came in here, I've been invited by a debate, so that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you're actually having the debate, because generally when I ask people to debate, they, block me. And that's why I don't ask anymore. But before we start, I just wanted to address something in the video that you posted. I think it was top 10 worst PC fanboys, which was kind of what sparked me actually asking to have the debate, because in the video you said that you challenged me to a debate and that I refused, but that never happened. So I'm not really sure where you got that from.
Okay, right. So I actually have the tweet right here. Let me just pull it up real quick because I took a screenshot of it. This might take me a little bit, but I'll read it to you. Yeah, nice. And basically, this certain tweet is kind of where I got the impression that you weren't very interested in debating me. It was probably from it was probably about a month ago. So that's probably why you wouldn't remember it. But I don't know. It's on my phone somewhere. I don't know if I have the exact tweet on my phone, but basically it went something along the lines of saying that there's a reason why nobody wants to debate you, or something along the lines of that. So I figured that you were one of those people that didn't want to debate me. You know what I mean?
Right, okay, yeah. Well, that wasn't what I meant, because I don't turn down debates. I mean, a lot of people know, the people who watch my channel know that basically I'm gonna jump at any opportunity to have a debate because I like debates. I think all I was trying to get across was that while I would be willing to do a debate, I could kind of understand why other people might not want to. And it's not necessarily for they're scared, which is often what the reason is, but it might just be because they have difficulties trying to actually engage in a discussion on the topic. But I mean, I think it's a bit different though when it's on Twitter as opposed to an actual debate. One-on-one. But
no, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Why don't we start by, why don't you explain what your whole stance is on, console gaming and PC gaming? I guess sort of explaining why you think that because generally you seem to say that PC gaming isn't objectively better, so why don't you clarify what your stance is on it?
Sure. Okay, so I don't care if you play on PC. I don't care if you play on Xbox. I don't even care if you play on Nintendo. I don't really care about that. What I do care about is when people are like, oh yeah, this is objectively better and you just have to accept it. People I like the fanboys, they always talk about, well, yeah, we don't care if you play on console, but you have to admit that PC's better. It kind of seems a bit elitist and a bit scummy to me. And that's where I kind of have an issue with, because I'm not really PC elitist shit, but you know what? I think there's elitists on all fronts. I mean, look, JTechTV blocked me. And Crap Gamer is another situation. He canceled his pre-order over a game coming to PC or some shit like that.
Yeah, I don't care for
it. I don't care for it in any instance. It's not just exclusive to PCs. It's just, I feel like with PCs though, they get the least bit of attention, if that makes sense. So that's pretty much what my stance is.
Right. Okay. Well, what I would say to that is, people tell you that PC gaming is better because when you weigh all of the pros and cons of PC gaming against consoles, it pretty much does everything that consoles can do better and things that consoles can't do. So, when it comes to console gaming, I mean, there are a lot more benefits to it 15 years ago when consoles were actually kind of good. I'm talking about consoles of old, like the GameCube, PS2, and going further back than that. I like those consoles. But that's because the benefits that a lot of console gamers say about console gaming aren't applicable anymore. I think the argument you were trying to say was, oh, well, consoles are easier to use, but I don't understand this argument anymore, because when it comes to, especially the Xbox One, I find that quite difficult to use. It's very counterintuitive.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I've been using computers for my whole life. I don't see how it's very difficult to learn how to use a computer. I mean, what are you using right now?
Not necessarily that's difficult, but it's a lot, like, in terms of gaming, I feel like it's a lot easier to play a game on a console than to play a game on the PC.
Why?
Because I just feel like there are a lot more issues with games on PC, at least from my experience, because I play games on PC, and I've had a lot more crashes and issues, like, with that than I have on playing console games.
Like what games are you talking about?
Well, I've had problems with, like, certain games. Like, I had problems with, like, Call of Duty Ghosts, which I guess...
Yeah, but Call of Duty Ghosts ran like dog shit on everything. It ran really badly on the consoles, too.
I mean, it was okay. I bought it again on the Xbox One. It was fine. But, like, generally speaking, like, I kind of have issues with a lot of games. I had issues with, like, Rust and DayZ, too.
Right, but those are early access games, though.
No, I mean, like, just with launching it. Like, it didn't launch. Never mind, like...
But it's not done. It's not complete.
Yeah, I've also had issues with other games, too.
Okay.
Like, just generally speaking, like, I have more issues with games when I'm playing on PC than on, like, the same game on a console.
Okay. I mean, there have been some bad PC ports, but even the worst PC ports are generally the better version of the game, just purely because even if it's lacking in certain settings or it doesn't run as well as it should on the machine, you'll usually still be able to get above 30 FPS. You usually still have the options that you need.
It's not even that they're bad ports, like, because you know how, like, PC gamers like to talk about how you can customize your experience and all that stuff. Well, that kind of, like, that also means that it won't really run like the same. It won't be a universal experience for everybody, and, you know, PC gamers might say that's a good thing.
Yeah,
but
it is.
Like, that might also cause some people to have issues while other people don't. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, like, I checked and I'm able to run the game. It's not like my computer's not powerful enough. It's just, I don't know, I just had issues with it and I had to, like, try to fix it.
Right, but I think what people are trying to get across when they're talking about customizability is, while there is potentially the caveat that because there are more variables, something might go wrong. Like, in the majority of cases, games run pretty well across most PCs, especially when it depends on what the game is, because you're gonna have a hard time finding someone who's having issues running Dota 2. You know what I mean? And there are a lot of these games that you have no difficulty running on a computer, especially if you start going especially more recently with a lot of these games. They've been getting a lot better at while there have been some bad PC ports, they're getting a lot better at making sure that games run on all systems. You know, it's not the same as 10 years ago when PC gaming was a little more unstable.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. But I don't think the bad PC ports, that's not really the PC's fault. It's the
it's the developer's fault. Yeah.
So whenever I say anti, like, PC gaming, I'm not gonna talk about that because that's just the developers. Like with what was it, Arkham Knight?
Yeah.
That was what they, like, outsourced it to a different developer, and it was like they didn't
put any effort into the port at all. I think they outsourced it only about a month before it was meant to be out. Yeah.
But I do think there's a bit of hypocrisy because in my latest video, at least, I mentioned Top Hats and Champagne, which as I'm sure you're aware of, he's the #1 person on the top 10 worst PC fanboys list.
Mm-hmm.
The problem I have with him, I think I've mentioned this before, I don't know if you've heard it yet, but the problem I have with him is that I'm sure you know that he always talks about how horrible it is that games on the PlayStation and Xbox are, like, they have exclusive games and that they hold their games hostage and how horrible that is. Like, at the same breath, he brags that PCs have more exclusives. I think that's a bit hypocritical to me.
The big difference is the reason why a lot of games are exclusive on PC is because that's the only means by which they can release the game. You know, a lot of indie developers can only release their game on PC because you can't develop for multiple platforms. Whereas when it comes to, for example, like Dead Rising 3, when that came out, that was very much a case of Microsoft paying to make sure that the game didn't release on the PlayStation.
Same with Titanfall.
Yeah, exactly. And that wasn't even an exclusive. That was a multi-platform game because that came out on PC as well.
That's just stupid.
Right, but
I don't support that. Like, exclusive games, like, when it comes to, like, third-party exclusives, like what we just mentioned, like, I don't like that I think that's very bad. I think it's bad. Like timed exclusives, I think is the worst.
Yeah,
That's
I
just
agree.
ridiculous. But I don't really see a problem with first-party exclusives. If they put the money and the effort into making the game, like especially with Nintendo, they develop the game and they put it exclusive on their system. I don't understand. Like, don't get me wrong, I had a lot of problems with Nintendo. I thought their Switch presentation was not that impressive, and I think they did a lot of things wrong. But one thing I ain't gonna attack Nintendo for is having exclusive games, because they're the ones that made the games. They're the ones that put effort into the games. So they have every right to put it exclusive. But it's different when we're talking about paying different people to not put it on a certain platform.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily share that same opinion with Top Hats on that topic. When it comes to first-party in-house exclusives, I think that's fine because it's kind of necessary to actually sell your system. But
I don't mean to generalize. It's just what I typically hear.
But I generally don't hear from PC gamers that games are being held hostage. I think. Because I know Top Hats does say that, but I don't say that often, and
the point I'm trying to make is if you do hold that sentiment though, because there are a lot of people that do, I think if you do hold that sentiment though, you can't say at the same breath, "Oh, PCs have more exclusive." Ha 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 ha.
Right, but I as I explained before, there is a bit of a difference because while I don't necessarily agree, I can see the truth in what he's saying because. When it comes to a lot of games that are only on PC, it's because they could only be on PC just due to the complex nature of the controls, or they couldn't put it on consoles because it was too difficult to develop for, or they don't have the funds to develop for it. I mean, this is kind of where I'd like to actually talk about exclusives because often I hear the argument that, well, consoles have exclusives and PCs don't, or like, you know, there are more exclusives on console, or something like there are more high. But this is something I've heard you say. Not that, but you said something like that quality is better than quantity, and that consoles have more high quality exclusives. But I don't. That's not really true, though, is it? I mean, it's very much a matter of opinion. But when it comes to, I mean, Civilization 6 was probably one of the biggest PC releases this year, and nobody could argue that wasn't a high-quality game. And then, of course, there are a lot of the other major titles on PC, like Dota 2, League of Legends, Football Manager. You know, those are good games. So I'm not really sure where this argument comes from.
Okay, but the point I'm trying to make is that you can't say that, like, people say PCs have more exclusives, and that's assuming that they're all good.
No, it's just saying that there are more games.
But how is that?
It means you've got more choice. It means you've got more choice. Like, whether or not I like the games is irrelevant, because someone else might like the games. When all of your choices, like on Xbox, I mean, they don't even really have exclusives anymore since everything's on PC, but for the sake of the hypothetical, what they've got, effectively, is Halo, Gears, and Forza. So if you don't like shooting things, there's only one game that you're going to enjoy out of those major exclusives. If you don't like driving, then there's only two, and if you don't like driving or shooting, then you've got nothing. Whereas on PC, because there's such a broad range of games that are only on PC, that's not nearly as much of an issue. I mean, there are certain genres that are almost entirely exclusive to PC gaming.
I think with exclusives though, I think it definitely works though, because that's probably the reason why consoles like still are popular, because of exclusive games.
I think you'll find that's not the case, because I mean, when you look at the top selling games on the PS4, they're pretty much all multi-plats, with the exception of Uncharted 4. Multi-platform games are the main source of revenue in the gaming industry in terms of consoles.
But what I'm saying is that, because the reason why people bought those systems in the first place was because of exclusive games. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's what I would have bought it for, and that's why I bought a PS4. But if you watch some of these videos from launch day of the PS4, you saw there were people like, "Oh, I'm getting Ghosts, I'm getting Battlefield 4." A big driving factor for console gamers to buy those systems was to play the same games that they could have played, but finally,
what I'm saying, I think consoles would suffer if there were no exclusives. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, yeah, they would, but that's not really the point. I think what I'm trying to say is when somebody says that there are more games on PC, that's a pretty significant benefit to PC gaming, especially when.
But the thing is, most console gamers don't really care about the games that are exclusive on PC.
What, you think that console gamers wouldn't be interested in strategy games or MMOs or... And I know that there are some of these games on consoles, but they're predominantly PC genres. Like,
I mean, I don't think they do. Just kind of like PC gamers don't care about genres that are popular on the consoles.
Well, I do. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. I buy a lot of games on consoles that are those exclusives because I do like those games. But
and that's why I feel like this is mostly a subjective thing to talk about.
But the thing is that it's not subjective to say it's got more games, therefore it's got a... I mean, more games is an objective benefit primarily because it means that you have more choice. That's a good thing.
But at the same time, I can say, well, I think the games that are on the consoles are better.
Right, but that's your opinion, as opposed to there are more games on PC. That's not an opinion.
Portion of people that do not care about that because consoles are very popular.
That's irrelevant. Whether they care about it or not has no bearing on whether or not it's a factual statement. Like what I'm trying to say is, okay, so mate, you're trying to tell me that people don't care about PC games, therefore, like, that's not a completely legitimate argument to make. It's PC gaming has more games. That in itself is a pretty significant benefit to PC gaming. Like, I would have a hard time listening to somebody try and spin that that's not good, that that's not a good thing.
Hello?
Yeah, sorry, it just dropped. But it looks like...
Can you continue from where you left off? Sorry.
Yeah, sure. So basically what I was trying to say was that I find it fairly illogical when somebody's trying to argue that more games is a good thing because it means that you've got a greater degree of choice. But more to the point, when somebody says there are more games, that's a factual statement. Whereas when someone says, well, I don't like those games, okay, that's your opinion. You know what I mean? It's not a very good counter to the point, well, there's more games. Well, I don't like them. That's kind of a nothing argument.
No, I do get your point, but I just feel like, there probably are objective benefits to PC, but there are also objective benefits to consoles.
Like what?
Like affordability.
Okay. All right. We'll go through them one at a time, but I'd kind of like to address this affordability argument. That's. I think everybody kind of understands that while with PC gaming, generally speaking, there's a little bit more of an upfront investment. Over time, simply due to the fact that games are cheaper and you don't have to pay for online, means that in the long run, it's definitely cheaper.
All right, I want to address that actually, because that's something I really want to talk about during this debate. Okay, so for starters, I think, at least compared to last generation, sales on consoles have been, like, much better than they have been last generation. Like for example, right now, Saints Row 4 is $5 right now in the Xbox store.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I thought you were talking about...
Watch Dogs... No. I'm saying Watch Dogs 2 was $30 during the holiday sale, which I think that's a pretty good deal considering how new the game was.
Right. Yeah.
And I think like the deluxe edition of Watch Dogs 2 was like $36. I do think consoles have a lot of great sales. Like I think it's pretty much catching up at this point. And also when we're talking about like when we're talking about what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, when we're talking about paying online. When we're talking about paying for online, because that's another point you brought up.
Yeah.
I feel like I do agree that it kind of sucks that you got to pay up for online, especially like with the Nintendo Switch, because I think that's probably going to hurt them, that they have paid online.
Yeah.
And I do think that definitely deters a lot of people away. But I feel like I'd rather pay $60 a year and pay less money up front for my system. And I do get free games in the meantime. So I do get some kind of value out of it. And most of my friends play on consoles as opposed to PC. So it's kind of like a no-brainer for me to buy consoles. I know for other people, they're like, oh, yeah, but more of my friends play on PC. And that's why I feel like you can't really, like... That's why I have a problem with the whole objectively superior thing, because most people just, it's mostly a subjective argument we're talking about which is better. Because if it was truly objective, then consoles really wouldn't exist.
Okay, right. Okay, but speaking about online, I mean, it's very hard to justify that it's okay to pay upwards of $60 a year for a service that's inferior to most PC games. Because for the longest time, and I think still to this day, there are a lot of games on the Xbox platform, and now with the fact that you have to pay for PSN, that don't have dedicated servers. Yet PC games which are free to play, in terms of the online component, have dedicated servers.
Well,
so what's the money going to?
I know right now, it's going to Sony and it's going to Microsoft. I know that.
Right.
It's not going to the developers. It's not going to any of those
right,
people.
But I'm saying, is it getting reinvested into the online part? Like, is 100% of that money getting reinvested into online?
I feel like it's like worth it for me, because like, while I do like, it would be great if it was free. Like, I don't think anyone's gonna be like, well, I love paying $60 a year, or for people who own both consoles, $120 a year.
Right.
I don't think people are gonna be like, well, it's such a great thing that I have to pay, X amount of money every year just to play my games online.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that, but what I am going to say is that I don't think that it's completely like worthless to pay $60 a year, especially considering that, like I said, most of the people I know play on consoles, and consoles have, like, at least compared to, like I said, last generation, they're more game sales than there were previously. So that kind of makes up for it. The free games, I think there's like, Xbox has 3 free games a month, and PlayStation has like 2 free games a month. And some of them have been pretty good. Like,
yeah.
Outlast was free on Xbox this month. I think Battlefield 4 was free on PlayStation 1 month. And it's just, I think it's overall, like, I don't think it's, like, a total, like, horrible, like, it's, like, I'm not getting any money's worth out of it, if you know what I'm trying to say.
But, how long have you been a subscriber? Do you have an Xbox 360?
Yeah, I've been an Xbox Live member for 7 years.
Okay, which means that you had it when you were on the Xbox 360.
Yes, I did.
When it was fucking worthless back then. Like, now they've improved, but, like...
I mean, I'm gonna say, like, because I was gaming a lot back then in the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 days.
Right.
And I think this is why Sony's trying to justify charging for online, because I think anyone who was on a PS3 and has played the PS3 and 360 knows that the 360 online was better.
A lot of people say that, but that was a very wishy-washy argument, and I think a lot of it was people trying to mentally justify paying for the service, because you'll find that there were a lot of PS3 exclusives that actually had dedicated servers. Meanwhile,
I mean, it's not just that, but like PlayStation Network had much less security than Xbox.
Because of the hack?
PlayStation was down for like a month.
Right, but like, anytime a hacker wants to hack something, they're going to be able to do it. I mean, it was a massive screw-up on their part, but I'm sure that the same thing could have happened to Microsoft, just purely because hackers generally have more expertise than a lot of these companies do. There are a lot of really intelligent hackers. I'm
just saying, it happened a lot more to PlayStation than Xbox. Even recently, like during this generation, when PlayStation, when you had to pay for both, like, PlayStation went more down than Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's true, but I'm not really sure about that. It kind of depends on, because a lot of these services just have intermittent issues. I think pretty much all online services occasionally have intermittent issues, but I don't really see how saying, well, PlayStation Network has screwed up, therefore it's good to pay for a service that offers me no value.
No, I get completely what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that I feel like companies are more likely to spend more money to fix their shit if they actually have subscribers for it, because if their service is really horrible and like it's horrible and it's like really bad, then people are going to unsubscribe, which gives them more incentive to.
But they didn't with the Xbox 360 back when there were no dedicated servers on, Halo games or anything like that, because a lot of people didn't understand, and they also tried to justify that, well, I'm paying for it, so I must be getting a better service. But the point I was trying to get at with this whole thing was that I don't have to pay to play games online on my PC, yet oftentimes they are superior in terms of connections because they're on dedicated servers instead of P2P.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an
So then
objective benefit.
So then why doesn't everyone just go ahead and get a PC?
Because a lot of people don't know that is the
No,
problem.
I'm saying there's obviously got to be some benefits that consoles have to make people buy consoles instead of PCs. If there were literally no benefits, then we wouldn't really be having this conversation, and everyone would just be playing on PC, right?
Well, no, I mean, a lot of people buy Macs despite many of the glaring drawbacks that there are in buying Apple electronics. It's not really a good argument of, well, people buy something that's inferior to PC, therefore it's not.
Yeah, well, the difference between Apple products and the difference between consoles is that Apple products are significantly more money than their competitors, and their competitors, like PCs, you could do more on a PC than a Mac. But when it's talking about gaming, like I think it's a bit more subjective than we're talking about Macs and PCs, in my opinion.
Okay, well, let's think about it this way. So the argument, the benefits that you think there are to console gaming are that it's cheaper but that's not true when we talk about the fact that you have to pay for online, and that's $60 a year, every year.
But that kind of
for 6 years.
But in 2-3 months, it kind of cancels out when you have all the free games.
Well, it depends if you're redeeming all those free games.
But I think normally somebody would do that. Makes sense.
Well, maybe some people do, but I don't know how many people are actually taking advantage of those deals. But more to the point,
I can't see someone be like, I pay $60 a year. They're free games, but I choose not to download them.
I don't know. I've never downloaded. I had Xbox Live for a year or so, and I don't remember downloading many games. I think I got like Assassin's Creed, and that was it, because I don't use the thing that much. And I'm the person who plays games a lot. If I'm not taking advantage of these deals, how many of the bro dudes do you think are taking advantage of these deals?
Yeah, no, I get completely what you mean.
But what I'm trying to get across is that you're being forced to pay for it. So so you buy PS4 at launch, $400, then an extra $60 if you want to play online, which you're probably going to pay, and then you want to buy a game at launch, that's about $60. So you've now spent about $520 on a PS4 online and one game. And then you have to take into account how much you're paying for the rest of that time. And if you're buying games at launch on consoles, you're paying a lot. But conversely, if you're on PC, maybe you spend about $500-$600 on a mid-range computer that's going to outperform a PS4. Then, no online at all. So you don't have that accumulating cost. And a lot of games you can find for really cheap at launch. I got Doom for about $30 on launch day by shopping around. And that's never happened on consoles ever. So in the long run, that's quite cheap, especially if you buy a lot of games.
Yeah, I think another part of it, the reason why people buy consoles over PC, is because not just the fact that PC is generally more expensive up front. I think it's also people it's a lot simpler to go to the store and get a console than to build your own PC or whatever.
You don't have to build your own PC. You can buy one pre-built.
I know you can, but generally speaking, pre-built PCs are not as good as if you just build it yourself.
No, I mean they're fine. It just costs more.
Yeah, exactly. It costs even more than it would than that it already is. It already is expensive up front, so you'd be spending more to get a pre-built PC.
Right, but that's the caveat. I mean, you can build it yourself, and it's not very complicated. I'm
not saying it's complicated. I'm just saying there are people that don't want to be bothered with it.
Okay, but
I'm sure you can understand that.
I kind of. But what I'm saying is there are ways of getting around it. Buy one pre-built,
right,
get a laptop.
You just said it's more expensive.
Right, but also you're forgetting the fact that when you buy a computer, you're getting a lot more than just a gaming console. Everybody needs a computer, so you're killing two birds with one stone. Imagine it this way. Well, I'm at university. I need a laptop and I want to play games. All right, so if I just invest maybe $1,000 in a gaming laptop, now I've got the gaming aspect, the portability that a lot of people claim that you only get with consoles, and I also have a computer that I can work on, make videos on, go on the internet. There are all these...
Well...
it's a computer. There's more that you're going to use for it than just video games.
It's kind of funny because you mentioned laptops. It's funny because I think a lot of PC gamers will agree that gaming laptops are kind of shit.
No. I mean, if you want to play on the go, then, you know, that's pretty handy for that.
Because at least what happened with me with my laptop is like it gets like because laptops get overheated easier, obviously, and my laptop, like I'm not even lying to you, it was running at 100 degrees Celsius, which is boiling temperature.
Well, that sounds like a bad laptop.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I actually got because I had it on my lap, obviously, because it was a laptop when I was like younger.
Yeah.
And I had a burn mark on my leg because of that.
Jeez.
It lasted for years.
Yeah, that's bad. But
I'm not ruling out like me ever getting a PC. Like I'm like don't get me like don't have me mistaken for someone that like I'll never buy a PC. PC is horrible. But if I ever do get a PC, which I don't know if it'll happen, probably towards the end of the generation, because what tends to happen, like at least with last generation, I think towards the last year or two of the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360's life cycle, like PC gaming was like I thought PC gaming was superior. I think if I ever do get another computer, though, I won't get a laptop because I just have bad experience.
That's fair, but what I was trying to get across is that the cost argument kind of falls apart when you take into account the fact that you need a computer in the 21st century. You're effectively killing two birds with one stone. I have my PC, but I certainly don't use it just for gaming. I use it to edit, draw stuff, go on the internet, do work. There's all of these other functions for it. So
yeah, but I don't know anyone who doesn't have a computer already.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. You can just buy a computer that's also a gaming PC. And
I'm saying why would I buy another computer if
you need a new computer eventually, right? I mean, you're eventually going to need a new computer, so at that stage you'd think, oh, well, I'll just throw down maybe $1,000, get a really powerful PC, and now I've got the benefits of a PC for doing work and going on the internet, but I also have a PC that I can game on.
Yeah, but some people do not want to spend that money up front.
But they need to buy a computer anyway.
People were barely able to afford the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One at $400.
Right, but
you remember all those old gen gamers that were complaining about the games not coming to the PS3 and 360? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people had a problem with just buying a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox One. So you can imagine that even more people would have a problem buying a $1,000, $500, $600 PC.
But a console is a luxury item. I mean, if you're sat there saying I can't afford a
$1,000 PC is a luxury item too.
Yeah, but yeah, $1,000 PC is a luxury item. But what I'm saying is, if you're in the market for a gaming thing, you've clearly got enough money to pay the bills. You're looking for something that you're adding, and presumably if you're buying a console, you already have a computer. So what I'm saying is, if someone's just sat there with a computer, they can think, well, alright, in 2 years, I'll save up some money, buy a new computer that I'll inevitably need to buy, and then you can just buy a gaming PC, and then your needs are sorted on both fronts. What I'm saying is it negates the argument of it's too expensive, because if you need a computer anyway, then you might as well just buy it.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I'm just saying people just do not, and they can't, in a lot of cases, spend that kind of money up front.
Right, so, okay, then buy a $600 computer.
Like I said, people were barely able to afford $400. Like, gaming
$400 plus Xbox, plus PS4 Xbox Live, plus a game. It's about the same price.
PC plus game.
Right, like PC plus League of Legends, which is free. PC plus Dota 2, which is free.
Well, there are certain games on the PlayStation 4 that, like, not all of them, but there are certain games on the PlayStation 4 that, if they're free, you don't have to buy PlayStation Plus. I don't know if you know about
but not on Xbox Live, though. You gotta pay for
not
Xbox Live.
So then you can make the argument that you should get a PlayStation 4 instead. You know
right,
what I mean?
but I could make the argument that a $400 laptop could play League of Legends quite easily.
My laptop can play League of Legends.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is that you don't need a super powerful PC to play a lot of our games. Especially if you're one of these people, and there are a lot of people like this who only play a couple of games, be it League of Legends.
So then what's the argument? So then what's the argument of buying a gaming PC if you're just going to play League of Legends, everybody can run it?
Right, but the point that I'm trying to get across is that when people try and argue that it's too expensive, it doesn't make a lot of sense once you think about it, because you need a computer to begin with. The costs aren't as high as a lot of people think it is, because you can just buy a mid-range PC for $500-$600, and when you take into account the other functions that you get, it becomes well worth the value. Like, literally, instead of buying a $400 PS4 and a $400 to $500 laptop, just buy a $600 PC, and you've now saved $200, and you've got all the functionality that you need.
I'm just saying people just aren't willing. I'm sure you know this. People just aren't willing to spend that extra $100, $200.
So how does that? No, but it's cheaper overall. So literally, you're just saying that people are too stupid to buy PCs because they can't budget properly and think ahead and realize that it's a lot cheaper in the long run.
It's really, it's not even that, because people just, like I said, like, it's a huge difference for people. Like, not everyone can spend that much money up front. You know what I mean?
But they can spend it in the long run. They can't just save money.
Well, I mean, like I said, we kind of already went into it about, like, consoles and PCs, which one is more expensive or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I kind of was talking about how, like, look, like, like, if we were talking about this like 6 or 7 years ago, you would have won this easily. I would have like given it to you. But like, I feel like with console games like these days, and with like holiday sales, I was amazed by like the sales that are on consoles recently. Like, I feel like, because I've been on Steam before, I've seen Steam sales, and it's like almost like is as good of a deal as is on Steam.
But remember, there's more than just Steam. You can go to GOG or G2A, and you can get games for really cheap on there every day.
And you could also go to GameStop or go to eBay and buy physical copies, and they're
for
usually
that cheap.
cheaper than...
You reckon you can buy Uncharted 4 right now for $6?
Maybe not $6, but a lot cheaper than they sell it on the digital store for sure.
Right.
I'm saying,
okay.
What I'm trying to say is that it's not just, there's a lot more than just, the PlayStation Store. I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah, but when it comes to consoles, it's physical or PlayStation Store, and that's it.
That's still good options, because there are different people that sell the games for different prices.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm trying to say?
But what I'm trying to get across is that you can get some really good sales on games at launch. Like, less than $60 at launch, if you shop around.
I'm sure you can.
But you're never gonna get Uncharted 4 at launch for less than $60 from the store or retail.
I don't know. I mean, you'd be surprised. There are people who don't want their game and they sell it.
Yeah, I know, but
$60.
I know, but I'm talking about like on the day. You can't pre-order. Like, you can pre-order a key for a digital game on PC for cheaper than the retail price. And what I'm saying is, if you're buying games day one, like, you absolutely are going to save a lot more money on PC. And if you wait, the sales get pretty ridiculous on some games on PC. You know, we're talking like $2.50 for games.
Yeah, like I said, Saints Row 4 is like $5 right now, and at retail it's like $20.
Okay, right. It's, yeah, I see.
I'm saying you can't really say that consoles don't really have sales, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying you say that, I'm just saying...
they're not as good.
It depends on what you're looking for, I guess.
Yeah, but also keeping in mind that there are a lot more games to choose from on PC as well. That's another thing to keep in mind. I bought... I can't remember, I don't think it was the last sale, but it was the one before that. I bought 4 or 5 old games for collectively about $6. You know, and plus there are humble bundles as well, where you get 7 or 8 games for $5 or $6. There is never a deal that good on consoles, ever.
Yeah, I know. I know, but I'm saying, well, I mean, you could also, like, know someone that's just willing to sell their games for cheap, too.
Right, so now we're getting into the whole used game situation, I guess.
Which I feel is something that a lot of PC gamers tend to ignore. Because, I mean, they're a lot more, like, the physical market's much more prevalent on the console than the PC. That's something no one can deny. And I feel like that's an objective advantage.
I mean, while that's true, when I go to a lot of my game stores, they still have a section for PC games where you can see quite a good selection of physical games.
Not nearly as enough. You have to admit that. At least.
Right, but yeah, but it's because, you know, PC is a largely digital platform.
Right, exactly. But the thing is, though, that you can. Consoles are a digital platform too, but also a huge physical market.
Right,
People
but
want to be able to resell their games and want to do that. People just don't care about the piece about on the PC. A lot of them seem to be fine where they're at.
well, I think the issue is that when you're talking about digital, you know, DRM isn't a universally bad thing. When it comes to a digital product, you got to have some level of DRM because otherwise people can just duplicate your game and post it online.
But I feel like if you were the kind of person that, like, I mean, I'm sure you saw that video I made, the how to win a PC versus console debate video. I'm sure you're familiar with that
I don't think
video.
I've seen that one, no. But
that was the first video that Rags made on me. But yeah,
oh, right.
basically in that video, I basically said that, like, look, like with consoles, like wait, what was I going at? Oh yeah, about that video.
I'm not sure. It's probably been a while since I've seen it.
I lost my train of thought, but what I was like, we were talking about physical market or digital market. Oh yeah, with DRM. Okay, I'm sorry. I've been busy day.
Yeah, no worries. Go ahead.
with DRM, I feel like if you're the kind of person that was complaining when you know, with what Microsoft was doing back in 2013, you know, like with Don Matrick and all that nonsense, I feel like you're a bit hypocritical if you're not okay with that, but you're okay with Steam.
Well, the big difference is I don't have an issue with DRM on digital products because it's kind of a necessity just due to the fact that you don't want people duplicating the game, whereas with but even then, GOG allows you to resell, I'm pretty sure. But in terms of the Xbox One, the issue was that they were trying to take physical games and apply DRM on that to where you can't even, like, loan the game to somebody. It's a physical product that you own in your hands that you can only have one copy of, and that's the key thing as opposed to PC where you can duplicate. You got one copy of the game, and you can't give it to someone else.
They want to phase out because they didn't really want the physical copies. They want to phase it out and make it completely digital. Like, I think they wanted to, like, get rid of the disc tray completely. Actually,
yeah, but the big difference is like Microsoft controlling the whole ecosystem as opposed to PC where there are other means of getting games. While a lot of them run through Steam, there are ways of playing games outside of Steam as well. And there are a lot of games that don't use Steam at all, like all of Blizzard's games and things like that. It's a bit different to where Microsoft trying to control the whole thing. That's a big difference.
Yeah, but there are people who, like, you know, there are a lot of PC gamers that only use Steam.
Yeah,
they're talking about how great Steam is, and they're talking about how horrible the Microsoft policies are when it's very similar to what Valve does. Not saying that's the horrible thing. I'm not saying Valve is an evil company by any means. I'm just saying that you can't really talk about how bad DRM is if you use DRM.
I think you can, because in that instance you basically, once you had the game, it was tethered to you forever. As opposed to on Steam now and Origin, where you do have the option to refund games. I mean, you can't loan. It's difficult to loan a digital game, but they're still actually working on ways of doing that. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that PC gamers are a lot more on point when it comes to protecting their own interests. That's why PC gamers aren't as easily taken advantage of as console gamers. That's why when Microsoft tried to charge a fee for games for Windows Live, that didn't work because PC gamers weren't going to allow that to happen. Like, trying to make the argument that PC gamers aren't aware of their own interests, it's kind of a flawed one, because while some PC gamers are kind of oblivious, a lot of them are vigilant.
So why are PC gamers okay with there being no physical games?
There are physical games.
For most of them, no.
No,
most AAA games, no.
There are, though. I can go to a store. I mean, anytime I go to a game store, I can walk past a whole bunch of physical copies for games.
Like a lot of, like, no, I'm saying, like, like a lot of console games, there's no physical version on PC.
You'll find that
Battlefield 1, for example.
Yeah, there definitely were physical copies of Battlefield 1, because I've seen them.
Not in North America, at least.
Oh, maybe not in North America, but I'm pretty sure I've seen physical copies of Battlefield 1 around.
Because you're in Australia, so it's probably different. So I apologize if
no,
there's like
that's fine,
whatever, but I'm just saying it's not. I'm not like trying to bullshit you. Like that's
yeah,
how
no,
it is
I know.
here.
I mean, when it comes to consoles,
probably,
like this is one of the few.
maybe PC gaming. Maybe PC gaming is more prevalent where you are than it is in North America. Like it's also more of a regional thing too. That's got to be into.
I think we are. I
think
the US and Australia are kind of similar though in terms of the trends. But I think
probably
like this is one of the areas when it comes to PCs and consoles where I can kind of see the point. It's always good to be able to resell games, and that is one of the benefits to console gaming. But there are also a lot of caveats attached, like the fact that used games are really bad for the developer.
So is piracy, and that happens more on PC than consoles.
Yeah, but a lot of people buy games on PC. All you got to do is look at the stats to know that there are a lot of people who buy games on PC.
I know. A lot of people do buy games on PC. What I'm saying is more instances of piracy than lost money from used games, because if you're buying a game, a physical copy, the money went to them in the first place, but if you just download a game from them, the money never went to them at all.
Well, yeah, that's true. I get that, but I think what the point I was trying to get across was I can see the value in having used games, but PC is starting to get better in that respect with the fact that we now have refund systems and game share and things like that.
There's a huge community of collectors, and I feel like because that's a huge portion of gamers. There are a lot of people that collect games.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you want to be a collector, it makes no sense to be on PC.
No. If you've watched Lazy Game, I think that's his name, LGR. He's got a huge collection of physical PC games. They're not new, but it's definitely got a lot of them. From back in the day.
You'd have a lot more. You'd have a lot more than whatever he has if you were a collector on consoles, though. Is what I'm saying.
No, because there are a lot of games that were on PC. There were a lot of PC games if you go far back. Because again,
I'm talking about right now, the present.
Yeah, right now, but I mean, a lot of these collectors are looking at NES, SNES. I mean, how many people are looking at PS4 collections?
Not now, but 10 years from now, yeah.
Yeah, maybe, but
15 years from now, yeah. Well,
I get that.
We're going crazy over PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 games right now.
I know, but there are a lot more PC games just in general from way back as well.
For sure. No, because we're talking about like the from the 90s and early 2000s when digital platform didn't really exist.
Yeah, but
that's the only reason why there were physical games back then.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to get across is, I can see the benefits of being able to resell games and share games. I mean, it was one of the things that I did when I was younger. So I guess that's one of the benefits that I can give to consoles, keeping in mind that PC gaming is catching up, and that there are drawbacks for the developer as a result of used games.
I will say, now that you're saying that, I guess I can say that the more games on the PC would be an advantage on the PC as well.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It is an advantage because I was playing. There are so many different games you could play on PC compared to consoles. I do not understand that, but the point I was trying to make is that there are a lot of people that just like the PlayStation, Xbox exclusives more. That's why people play it.
But
I do understand it is an advantage. I do understand that you have more options. I'm just saying that most of those, I just feel like it's kind of stupid how like I saw like a picture online about like games released every month, and it's like PC was like 100+ games, but most of those games are like not of good quality.
Well, I mean, in your opinion, like I'm sure some of them are shit, but there are a lot of small games that release on PC that I really liked.
Like the only shit console game I could ever think of, exclusive game, would be like the Order 1886.
Yeah, that game is awful. I'm
okay. That's one thing we can definitely agree on.
Absolutely. I mean, when people tell me that game's good, I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's so fucking boring. There's really nothing to it at all.
The campaign's short, no multiplayer. It's just,
it offers no value at all. But
no value at all.
I think maybe it would be good to get onto this whole because I think the argument you always try to make seems to be that it's all subjective and that you can't say that PC gaming is
mostly subjective. I feel there are some objective things, but that also I think that goes with both sides. We just admitted that together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But the thing is, when it comes to consoles, there are a few objective benefits that I can say about it personally. And I don't think it's based on opinion. It's just these are the only ones that I can think of. Is the fact that you can resell games and trade and stuff like that, and that there are games on consoles that I like. But when it comes to PC, it's got a lot more advantages, which is why people say that PC gaming is objectively better, because the sheer number of advantages that there are for PC over consoles, just it negates the fact that there are a couple of advantages to consoles. There are just so many advantages to PC gaming that overshadows the few advantages that console gaming has.
I mean, yeah, I understand the point you're trying to make. I just feel like PC fanboys, from my experience, could just be like total assholes when it comes to this shit. Because if you talk about how you like consoles more than PC, they just go fucking crazy. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, I don't. I mean, I think that it would be better if people did play on PC, but I'm not necessarily gonna I'm not gonna get angry over it. It's your money.
Yeah,
but
I mean, like, people just have to accept that there are people who think console gaming is a better experience than PC.
Right, but the issue is that it's like when they say that it is better, because it's not. It's just not. Like, I can understand.
Because I feel like there's a difference between people like me and people like JTech TV, who literally dedicate themselves to a specific corporation.
Right, but he's a Sony fanboy. Like, yeah. But
and they like the PlayStation Legion, like he has a cult dedicated to Sony or some crap, and he blocks everybody who criticizes him. Like, yeah. I hope at least that you can try to distinguish people like him from myself.
Yeah, I mean he's a PlayStation fanboy. I think
because if you invited him to debate you, like he would have blocked you. He probably already did block you.
Yeah, I've never talked to him before, and he blocked me. But
yeah, he blocked me too because I didn't. He asked me if I need help to fight Rags and to join his PlayStation Legion. I said no, thank you, and I got blocked.
But what I'm trying to make the point is a lot of PC gamers get annoyed when like a lot of I think you're ignoring the fact that there are console gamers with very much of a cunty attitude when it comes to PC gaming. Like, haha, you're not getting Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, I've never done that to a console gamer because they couldn't play Civ or I don't know, Company of Heroes or something.
There are PC fanboys that do that though. You might not be one of them. There's a sizable portion of people that do that.
And also there's the fact that you will often see like a lot of PC console gamers say that the console gaming is better. That's when I think people start getting annoyed. All right, I think it's reconnected.
All right, good.
Yeah.
So I guess the parts were cut off. Like, I guess you could just like edit it out real quick. Or something.
That's all good. All I was trying to say at that part was, you know, there are a lot of console gamers who will say that PC gaming isn't like they will say that consoles are better, and they're fairly illogical reasons. Like, again, it's not simpler because when I buy a game on PC, it is literally a matter of I'll go on Steam, see the game I want to buy, click a few times, and now it's installing. And how's
that any different from getting a digital game on console?
Well,
I don't understand.
What I'm saying is that it's not complex. I'm not saying that consoles.
Okay. I think I made this point earlier. I'm not trying to be an asshole, but what I was trying to say earlier is that not necessarily like when you're downloading games from Steam, that downloading games from Steam is more complicated. I'm saying the whole process of getting into PC is more complicated.
I don't see how though. I mean,
we already kind of went into that with like building your own PC.
Yeah, but I want to talk a bit about the software side of it because
Sure.
Because that's
no problem.
The hardware side I can kind of understand, though I think that there are ways to get around it. But when it comes to software, it's like that baffles me. It's everybody knows how to use a computer. Everybody in a Western country knows how to use a computer. It's not hard. Go on the internet, download Steam, and it's all sorted. I feel
software-wise, there's really no difference to me
Right,
The only
but
thing I do experience a bit more crashes, but I guess there's some people that don't at all. But I think generally speaking, there are people that do experience more crashes on PC than
well, I
consoles.
don't know. I mean, sometimes, but I've also had crashes on consoles too. Is the thing?
Yeah, but that could also be a benefit for consoles, the whole universal experience, because generally speaking, unless you have a defective unit, everyone has the same experience and everyone has the same
Yeah, but
version of the
that's not
game.
a
And
good thing though. I don't think. The fact that I can
that's
customize it is a
why
huge benefit.
that's why I have a huge problem with the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox Scorpio, because I don't feel like it's going to be I don't think it's going to sell well because they're trying to cater to PC gamers mainly
No,
than anybody
I
else,
think
and I don't
they're
think it's going
catering
to do
to
well.
I think they're catering to the demand of console gamers, because I don't like at no point was I sitting there thinking, yeah, I might get a PS4 Pro. Like that thought never crossed my mind. Because
Why not just start a new generation?
well, they're not going to do that because they're going to alienate their fans. You know, but this is the thing.
Are they not doing that already though?
kind of, but not to the same degree. Because the thing is, if after 3 years you're like, hey, buy a new console, that's gonna piss people off. Whereas if you say, hey, you don't need to, but this is better, that's gonna piss some people off, but it's not as bad as just telling them that they have to buy a new console. But I think what I'm trying to get across with that is that the argument that, oh, you gotta keep upgrading your PC kind of crumbles when console gamers who already own PS4s are buying PS4 Pros.
That's a stupid. Anyone who already has a PlayStation 4 that's gonna buy a PS Pro is a total moron. I'll be the first person to say
People
that.
have
There's
done
no
it though.
reason to
That's
do
the
it.
thing.
I know there are
The same people who say that it's dumb to upgrade your computer and that it's so expensive and that it sucks are
I
buying
don't speak
PS4
for
Pro.
every idiot on the internet.
No, I know
That
you
in
don't.
mind.
I'm just saying that these are things that people have said.
I'm saying it's bad on like it's all sides. Like they do stupid shit. They say stupid things.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
but also I think that might be part of the reason why you seem to have some like why you keep trying to say that PC gaming is only subjectively better to some people is based on the fact that there are some PC gamers that I guess you don't like. Whereas I don't know. I'm just basing my opinion on pros and cons. I don't dislike the Xbox One because of Xbox One fanboys. I just have a lot of issues with the system.
No, I get that, and most of my issues with PC. I mean, it also is mostly because of gamers, but people don't seem to understand that I used to play on PC and I have a bad experience.
Right.
If I never played on PC at all, that'd be one thing. But people looked at my Steam profile and was like, "Oh, you have games on that?" Like people were surprised. They thought I never played PC because that's generally what most of the I guess console fanboys are like. They never played on PC ever. But I have.
but there are also some of these people who sort of played on PC but have the console mentality. You know, the people who say things like, you can't connect your computer to the TV and play on your couch. Like, you just have to play at a desk. Stupid shit like that.
I mean, I think it's a better experience to play on you have a better time playing on the couch or whatever on a console than with a PC.
Yeah, but that's a very wishy-washy thing, and you can also connect your computer to your TV.
You can, but I think it would probably be better to have it on a monitor, would it not?
Well, depends on what you want to do, but this is one of the big advantages to PC gaming, is that you can do what you want. I personally prefer playing PC with mouse and keyboard at my desk, but if I preferred playing it on my TV, just take my desktop, plug it into my TV, wireless keyboard and mouse, or even a controller, boom. Now I'm playing PC on my couch.
Is that really practical, though?
Yeah, it is. It really is. I mean, I don't do it, but it's definitely fairly easy to do it. If you plug it into your computer and you just get mouse and keyboard on like your lap or something, or you get something on your lap, then you can use it on your couch. You know, that's for every issue that you have with PC gaming, there's generally some way to resolve it.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're trying to say. It's just I just feel like it's not really comparable to when we're talking about putting a PC on, like playing it on a TV than playing a console.
But it is though, because I mean they've literally designed PCs with the express purpose of plugging them into your TV and using them with a controller or something like that. They do exist.
Yeah, can you hear me? Because it's like
Yeah.
cutting off, I think, again.
Yeah, I can hear
Sorry,
you.
because like it was like 1 bar connection. I was getting concerned that was cutting off
Oh,
again.
sorry.
But
No, it's fine. Yeah.
so like, but going back to what you're saying, like, I just feel like it's less of a hassle, I think, to play games on a console than to play games on a PC. Like, at least
Yeah,
with,
I don't
you know,
agree anymore. I don't agree with that anymore. I used to agree with I agree with that when it comes to the PS2 or the N64, but not anymore. With all of the fucking firmware updates and patches and things like that, it's become a big hassle to play on consoles. But the big difference is I don't have to upgrade certain things on my computer to still play games.
But I feel like you like, because if you buy one of those like budget PCs, I feel like if they don't last that long,
No, I think
and
that
if you
surprised
buy
you.
probably not as long as a generation of consoles, that's for sure. But
Well,
like
you can scale though.
the point I'm trying to make is that like you spend more money, like you admitted it yourself. You generally, in order to get like a good experience, you spend more money up front. And I feel like that's just something that's a huge factor for many people. And I
But
think
that has
that's
nothing to do with objectivity. That's like it is entirely based on people not understanding their purchasing decisions. From what we have talked about, that's what it seems to indicate, because I've explained pretty clearly that in the long run it is cheaper, and even in the short run you're not spending a whole lot more if you just go for a mid-range computer. But yet the argument is, well, people don't do that. Like, I don't know.
yeah, no. It's just I feel like people seem like it just seems a lot easier to me, at least, like to just get a console than to
Right.
the whole PC thing. I don't want to get back into the whole thing because we've been talking about it nonstop, but that's kind of like it kind of relates to everything we're talking about too.
Right, but what I'm trying to point out is that I think simplicity is a very flawed argument, especially now, because you have to download patches, you have to do firmware updates. Games do crash more often than they used to. Plus, the UIs have become, I mean, they're not super complicated, but they've become a lot more complicated than when it was with the PS2, where I could just open the disc tray, put the disc in, and I'm playing.
But that also has to do with the rise in online play.
Right, but what I'm saying is that it's a flawed argument. Because back then they it was very much a matter of go to the store, buy a GameCube, hook it up to your TV, put the disc in, and you're playing. And that was a legitimate advantage to consoles of old. But now that is not true, because I will occasionally, when I haven't played my PS4 for a few months, I'm sat there for an hour waiting for a firmware update, and then a patch, and then for the game to install.
I mean, I get things to this day to keep updating Steam and to update Steam games all the time.
Right, but you don't have to. You can play in offline mode.
Okay, you can play games offline on the consoles too. What's the point?
Right, but I don't have to, like, what I'm trying to say is, when it comes to like this argument that it's much simpler, like you just said it yourself. Well, consoles do that too. Yeah, so do PCs. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, but like I said, we kind of I think we beat the dead horse when it came to the simplicity argument.
Right. Okay.
But I'll just reiterate it one more time. Like, I feel like it's simpler because the hardware aspect of it.
Right. Okay.
Mostly compared to software.
But okay. Well, let's look at it this way, because the whole argument was subjectivity and objectivity. Let's like run through a list of the benefits of PC gaming against the benefits of console gaming, so that I can try and explain why you can say that PC gaming is objectively better. So, benefits of console gaming. You can trade your games and stuff, but PC is catching up, and there are games on consoles that are good, like exclusive games on consoles. I don't think you can make the argument for local multiplayer anymore. That used to be a benefit, but that one I think is a lot less applicable. I think the simplicity one is now a lot less applicable in the modern with modern consoles. So that's basically the way that I would see it with consoles. And then with PC,
I mean, well, before you go on to the PC, sorry.
Okay.
To interrupt, but like I feel like local multiplayer is still a thing.
Like what games do you still play local multiplayer for?
Well, there are definitely games that have it, because
Like what though?
I don't play any, but I know they definitely exist.
Excluding
for sure.
Nintendo games, like, can you think of any on PS4 or Xbox One?
I'm pretty sure you can play Rocket League
Okay.
locally. You could probably, I know, at least with PlayStation, you have Little Big Planet 3. That was something I always
Right.
did locally.
Yeah.
Local multiplayer, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, it's definitely less prevalent than it was back then, but the only reason why it's less prevalent is because more people are playing online games and online gaming.
Yeah, right, okay, but I'm just saying it's not really a good argument anymore because
But I'm saying they exist, and
yeah,
like
but
even if
they
they're
exist
not
on
very,
PC.
they're still more prevalent than PC. Even if they're not as prevalent as they used to be
No,
on consoles. If that makes sense.
I played
And also Call of Duty, local multiplayer, other games too.
Okay,
You know?
but what I'm saying is there are a lot on PC like Tron. Like if you play those Tron games where you can do 2-player, there are a lot of like PC games, browser games, and things like that that have local multiplayer, and those are still video games nonetheless.
I
Yeah.
just feel like it's a lot easier to set up local multiplayer on consoles
No, I
than
mean
PC.
you need two
Sure.
controllers, whereas with on PC, if I'm playing Tron, I just use WASD. Someone else uses the arrow keys.
That's still, I mean, obviously you can't, like, using two different controllers is a lot better experience. I don't think you can really argue
but
with
you
that.
got to pay $60 extra to get the other controller.
$60 extra to get the other controller.
Well, I don't know, $60. That's how much it costs here.
I get it, but no, but I'm saying if you have a buddy that has a controller, you know what I mean? They could just come over and.
I don't know. WASD and arrows work fine for simplistic games. I don't think it's that hard.
But I'm talking about for Call of Duty is what I'm saying.
Right, yeah, I can see that, but I still think it's a fairly irrelevant argument in 2016 just because of how few there are. Like, unless we're talking about, like, Nintendo games, unless we're talking about, like, Mario Party and Mario and stuff like that, then I think it's not really as valid as it used to be.
No, it's not going to argue it's not as valid as it used to be, but I think it still does have some validity to it.
Yeah, kind of, but I think it's kind of a waning argument.
But I think it's a bit like we could keep talking on and on about this. I want you to get back to your points about the objective advantages of PCs.
All right. Okay. So it is cheaper in the long run. Like that. I think we've even agreed on that because your response to that was, well, people don't do that. Like, don't make the smart choices, but it is cheaper in the long run.
Well, no, but the argument I made about that, though, back in the beginning of the debate, I said, well, yes, you do pay for online, but that you do get a lot of free games out of it. You get sales, you get a whole bunch of things, and there are sales on consoles, but sometimes if you do have the PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live, like, the sales even greater, if you know what I'm talking about. Like, for example, if a game costs, like, let's say if a game costs, like, $40 and it's on sale for, like, $10, it'll cost like $7 if you have the subscription.
Right. Okay. As long as you maintain that subscription.
It's a bit more iffy. It's a bit more iffy if we're talking about that, but continue on because we already talked about this.
All right. Customizability. That is a fact. There is no way that anybody could argue that.
Nope.
And by customizability, I also mean options in the game and with the computer. Third is
I'll agree with that.
more games. Third is more games.
So I'll give you two of those.
I suppose the fourth one is that generally speaking, when it comes to multiplayer games, you're gonna get the better. You're gonna get better online play just simply due to the fact that you've got dedicated servers and things like that. Another one is that there are just genres that are entirely exclusive to PC. Like MMOs, strategy games, simulators, things like that. There's also, hold on, I'm just thinking about other ones. Oh yeah. Mouse and keyboard in terms of different control options as well. Mouse and keyboard, gamepad, and of course the advantages that come with playing like first-person shooters and things like that with a mouse and keyboard. Then there's also the benefit to the fact that it's a computer that you can use to render videos, go on the internet, edit, things like that. Sales are better, generally speaking. You've got more options in terms of, I guess you got more options in terms of buying games, on on sales, at launch, things like that. In terms of other ones, I probably have to double check things that I've written in the past, because I'm starting to lose track. Oh, sorry. Alright, just cut off.
I can hear you now.
Whereabouts did I get up to when it cut off for you?
I think you were talking about like more like genres of games that like there are certain genres that are exclusive to PC.
I'll just rattle them off really quickly again. So I present the argument of cheaper in the long run, which we've already have differences on that one. Greater customizability in terms of games, hardware, controls. There's more games on PC.
Agreed, yeah.
What was the other one that I was talking about? The genre, pretty much genre-specific games that you can only find on PC.
Yeah.
And the benefit...
That is true.
And the benefit that it is a PC that you can use to edit and make videos and stuff like that. And what I was going to say was, I think I'd probably have to double-check the reasons that I've presented in the past, because I lose track. Because there are more than that. I'm kind of got to double check that I've said in the past.
I'm sure you can come up with more.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. I can list all of these really good reasons why PC gaming is better. And in my opinion, when you've got something that has so many benefits, and by comparison to the other platform, it's difficult to argue that it's not objectively better.
Right. Okay. So what I'm gonna say about that is that there might be, like, I do agree that there are a lot of benefits that PCs do have over consoles, and maybe it does, like, there are more, like, there's more, I guess, advantages, but I feel like, the weight of those advantages aren't as much as they are on the consoles.
Really? You reckon, like, total customizability isn't an incredibly good advantage?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me, that's a huge deal. The fact that you can tailor it to the way that you want to have it. Like the fact... Because,
like I said, you might think that's an advantage, but for other people, they want to have, like, a system where, like, they know everyone's on a level playing field and have the same experience.
Options,
you know what I'm trying to say?
Are a good thing in my... as far as I'm concerned, options are a universally good thing.
For the most part.
Well, if it is for the most part, then I would say it's applicable here. Like, I don't really see how you've got the option to basically run your game. That's the other one, better hardware. That's the other benefit to PC gaming as well. The fact that you're able to run games at 60 FPS or 144 FPS at 4K potentially. That's an objective sort of advantage in terms of hardware-wise. The fact that you have the option to prioritize frame rate and performance or visual fidelity, and nobody is going to argue that 30 FPS is better than 60 FPS. And one of the big reasons why I would say, oh, well, you know, it's all uniform and stuff, is a bad argument. Is like, a lot of console games uniform 30 FPS, but that's shit.
I mean, like, I'm not gonna be the kind of person being like, I don't know who says it, but I've heard it before. Like, the human eye can't see for a second.
What?
Like,
Sorry?
I think, you know how fanboys, like console fanboys, generally, like on the Xbox and PlayStation, when PC gamers like argue with them, they're like, "Oh yeah, the human eye can't see more than 30 frames per second."
That's
I'm
retarded.
Not gonna make that argument. I think it's stupid to be like, oh, all console games are like a slideshow and they look like shit.
They do, but they run badly. That's 30 FPS is not fun. I can deal with it kind of, but it's fucking like bad compared to 60 FPS or higher than that. You can immediately tell, and it has direct impacts on the gameplay.
Yeah, and also not all games are 30 frames per second.
But most are. Most are, though.
Most are, yeah, but still, like, I feel like, I just feel like it's stupid to be like, oh, like, they look like shit because I'm used to playing it at better graphics.
No, but they do look like shit when they run at 30 FPS. It's not a thing to do with, the sheer texture quality or things like that. It's more that 30 FPS is fine when it's like
fanboys always talk about the textures too, but
right, but that's a valid argument. I mean, games look better on PC. But what
you have the hardware for it. Not everyone does.
Right, but it's possible is the main thing, and
okay, it's possible.
But what I'm trying to say with the whole thing about 30 FPS is that it is worse to play at 30 FPS not only because it looks worse, because you know 24 FPS is fine for things that you watch, but it's not good for something that you're playing because when you're playing at 30 FPS, that's half the frames of 60 FPS, which means that there's a greater delay in terms of input. It feels more sluggish, and nobody can deny this. There's a reason why a lot of shooters now run at 60 FPS, because it's better, and it needs to run at 60 FPS.
I feel like soon that might be a little like an antiquated argument, because I can't see, like, next generation them doing that.
What?
But for now, that
FPS?
is... I can't see them keeping it at 30.
You reckon? You reckon that they're not going to keep it at 30 FPS?
Oh, I'm telling you right now. People can record this, okay? People can remember this. If next generation, PlayStation 5 and Xbox, whatever the fuck, if it's 30 frames per second, I'm gonna become a fucking PC master race, whatever the hell.
No,
I'm gonna go with PC.
but I mean, all you need to do is look at last gen. Last generation, they started running at 30 FPS, and their excuse was, well, the hardware sucks. Then they jump ahead with consoles with like 20 times as much RAM, far faster CPU and GPU clocks, and the shit's still running at 30 FPS because their priority is graphics. Any game can run at 60 FPS. The Nintendo Switch can run games at 60 FPS. The Mario is running at 60 FPS on that thing. If a game can run at 60 FPS on a tablet, surely it can run at 60 FPS on what is supposedly the most powerful console.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I feel like people, like, whether you like it or not, I don't necessarily like it, but people tend to, at least on the console side of things, or just in general, people tend to like put more emphasis on graphics over frame rate.
Right, but that's fucking stupid though, isn't it? Because
right, but if there's more economic no, but the point I'm trying to make, if there's a greater economic demand for it, then that's what they're going to do.
But it's worse.
Perhaps.
No, not perhaps.
But
it is worse. Like, this is one of these situations where you can't say that 30 FPS is better. It's not. Gameplay-wise, it is objectively worse.
I'm not saying 30 frames per second is better than 60 frames per second. I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying.
No, I know what you're saying. You're saying that because people prefer that, that's what they do. But that has no bearing on whether or not it's better or worse. My argument is that for
some people it's better.
But it's not better. Like, they say it's better, but it's not. It is worse.
But I'm saying there are people that care a lot more about 1080p than 60 frames per second.
Right, and those people have stupid priorities, because resolution is one of the least important aspects of a game.
I mean, not according to a lot of these fanboys.
But you can't sit there and tell me that because people have really irrational points of view, that somehow means that PC gaming isn't better since PC gaming allows you to customize it. Console gamers can feel free to play games at 30 FPS on computer if they want. They can cap their frame rate if they want, but nobody does it because everybody understands that 60 FPS or higher than that is better.
Okay, sure.
No, I mean, it is, though. Like, all you need
it is. I'm not, like I keep trying to say, like, I'm not the kind of person that's going to be like, oh, like, it's not a difference. I think I already, like, kind of, like, made myself clear about that.
Right.
But, you know.
But what I'm trying to say is that's an objective benefit. The fact that you can choose whether you want to play at a suboptimal frame rate. You have the choice to play at 30 FPS and bump up your visual fidelity or have an inconsistent frame rate. But on consoles, there is no choice. You can say, well, I want to play it at 60 FPS, but if the developer doesn't want you to play it at 60 FPS, you're not playing at 60 FPS.
Yeah, but, like, I guess now that they're coming out with these new consoles, the PlayStation 4 Pro or whatever, I guess that might not be a thing.
No,
Like, it might not be an argument to make.
no, you'll
anymore.
find that most games on that still run at 30 FPS. They've just got upscaled or something.
Then that's embarrassing. That's completely embarrassing.
Right,
then.
but this is what I'm saying. You're trying to tell me that with the PlayStation 5 and stuff, they'll have games running at 60 FPS, but even with upgraded consoles, the priority is still resolutions.
I honestly, like, I cannot see Sony or Microsoft making consoles in 2018, 2019, whenever the hell it will be, because, it's already been 4 years. We're already 4 years into the life cycle right now. So, it's coming soon. It's just, I don't know how soon. Maybe like a year, probably next year, I think, that like E3 2018.
Nah, that's too early. I think the reason why they're doing these mid-console stuff is to prolong the generation.
You might be right. Probably E3 2019 then.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best bet. But whenever that happens, I cannot see them coming out with a console that's 30 frames per second. I just can't see it.
Right, but it seems like you don't seem to understand game development. That any console is capable of running stuff at 60 FPS or higher than
I know.
that. They just choose not to by putting so much emphasis on graphics.
I'm saying them having hardware that's capable of having good resolutions and high frame rate is what I'm trying to say.
No, every console is capable of having 1080p 60 FPS games. They just have to bump the textures down.
Well, I'm saying with all of that, with the good textures,
right,
good
but by then 4K will become the standard. So now they'll have to have 4K at 60 FPS.
See, that's a thing with 4K. Like, I know it's it's a big thing, but I know most people, like, when we're talking about general consumer, most people do not have access to it currently. I don't know if that'll change soon.
I think it will,
but I don't know.
Because before we had 480p CRT monitors. And now we're on 1080p, and people are moving to 4K. Not everybody has it, but resolutions increase.
Because HD like existed since like the late 90s.
I know. That's what I'm.
Know all about that, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. There is a gradual increase, and then by next generation, they'll want to be doing 4K, which they're probably not going to be able to do, and they're not going to do 60 FPS. The fact that the PS2 had lots of 60 FPS games. It is not a matter of hardware, it's a matter of priorities in the gaming industry. And when it comes to consoles, it's all about those graphics.
You're saying you would not have any complaints at all against Sony if they did that, if they bumped down their textures, or the developers rather, if they bumped down their textures and everything and had high frame rates, you'd have no problem at all with that?
I would prefer that.
So you'd prefer that, but I'm sure there would still be a lot of people being like, "Whoa, these graphics look like shit."
Yeah, but at least the game plays well.
Either way.
At least the game plays well. I don't even really give a shit about the resolution. 720p 60 FPS with good texture quality.
And that's good. That's good for you. Like, you're one of those people that aren't, because there are people that just like 4K, 245 frames per second. You know what I mean?
Well, they're people who like graphics and gameplay, but again, that's one of the benefits of PC gaming. You have the choice. Like, have you dropped again? Yeah. Oh, sorry. I just thought you might have dropped.
No, sorry.
But
no, my bad.
Let me give you a sort of an analogy for the way I look at it. So imagine you have a car from 1920 that's top speed is about 10 kilometers per hour. Or like 8 miles per hour, whatever it is. And you compare it against a modern car that not only has a top speed of 200 kilometers per hour, but also has air conditioning, windshield wipers, windows that you can roll up and down, seat warmers. PC gaming is the modern car with all of these bells and whistles and things like that. It has the advantage of having a much higher top speed, meaning you can get to places faster, but not at, 200 kilometers per hour, but it is capable of doing that. And that's an important thing. It's capable of doing that if you want to drive it that fast. And then it also has all of the bells and whistles of air conditioning, windows that you can roll up and down, seat warmers, all of those things. That's the PC, and the car is the console. It's not as fast. It doesn't have all of those advantages. But I suppose there's a subjective benefit in that you're less likely to get into a car crash. That's the way
Well,
that I see it.
I'd like to think that the gap between PCs and consoles is not as much as a car from the 1920s from a
No,
car
I
from
mean
today.
I'm being
That's what I'd like to
facetious.
think.
I'm being facetious, but
I know,
yeah.
I know. I'm just saying. But I get what you mean, but I just feel like I feel like there are just certain benefits that both platforms have to offer, and I feel like there's too much, elitism and people being like feeling like they accomplished something in life because they have a high expensive gaming rig. Like most people just don't care about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't say that, but look,
Don't.
in their defense, if you tell someone repeatedly that they have more money than you and that's why they can afford a PC, eventually some of those guys are going to start thinking, maybe I am. If console guys stop saying, oh, you have too much money to spend and stuff like that, then maybe there'd be fewer PC elitists.
I honestly, I personally have seen cases of what you just described with the PC side more than the console side, but that's just me. Like, I think there's more elitism. Like when it comes to like literally, like you look at any video like gameplay footage on a PlayStation game or an Xbox game, like PC Master Race. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they're allowed to do that. I mean, it's fine.
Like that happens a lot more often than someone going to a PC video being like, "Oh, PC sucks." Or something like that.
It's because PC gamers typically have broader horizons. They're looking out for this stuff, whereas a lot of console gamers don't even seem to realize how big the PC market is in East Asia. Which is why they're like, oh, well, consoles are the main thing, but they're not. PC gaming is more prominent.
You mentioned that with that, what was it called? That podcast doing with Black Bonds. I heard you talking about that. I was watching. With the East Asian market though, like that might be relevant over there, but over here it's not.
Right, but when people say shit like, oh, consoles are the main thing, they're wrong. You go to, again, like PC gaming is a much bigger market. There are more people playing Dota 2 right now, like 506,000. I would pretty confidently say that there are more people playing like Dota 2 right now than any of the largest player bases on the PS4 and Xbox One in terms of games right now combined. That's
because anyone's mom's computer can run it.
Right, but what I'm saying is it's a lot bigger than people try and claim it is. Like PC gaming is this niche thing.
I'm not trying to say it's small. I'm not trying to say it's small or it's a niche thing.
Yeah, it's not small. It's huge.
No, it is huge. I'm not going to deny that. But when you talk about, sorry about that. But when you talk about like the core, when you talk about the core gaming market, which is kind of like what we're generally having a debate about, we're talking about AAA games, we're talking about exclusive games. That's our main argument is. Am I not mistaken? Right? That's what our main argument is.
I don't know, kind of. I mean, I was talking about PC gaming and console gaming broadly speaking.
But like most of our points deal with multiplats, deal with like kind of like core, like hardcore gaming, I guess you could say. But like most of the money that goes into PC gaming is from social gaming and these like free to play MMO games that like have microtransactions up the ass.
Right,
that's where most of the money in PC gaming. That's where most of it comes from.
They are big games though. Like. League of Legends is not some shitty little, mobile game. It is a fucking huge game with, 50 characters. It's a big game. It's a big game.
Yeah, but the thing is, if, we're talking about, games that, require, actual, graphical capabilities, then more people play it on the consoles than the PC.
Well, yeah, but then you're looking at a very narrow thing. Like, a lot of people do this because when a lot of games don't even have protagonists or plots. Like, the biggest games in the world are things like Bejeweled and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Candy Crush Saga, whatever.
Yeah, stuff like that. It's kind of, this is something I've noticed with a lot of console gamers.
But you know that actually is a good chunk of the PC market. It's like 25% of it, believe it or not.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. But this is what I mean. PC gaming is so broad that when people try and claim it's like, oh, it's just these faggots on forums and things like that. Most PC gamers are just playing games. There are lots of people.
Would you consider someone that plays nothing but Candy Crush a PC gamer?
Yeah, they're playing games on PC, and that's all it takes. In the same way that if you play nothing but Call of Duty, you're still a console gamer. You're a very casual console gamer, but you are still a gamer nonetheless.
I would like to think Candy Crush is a bit more simplistic than Call of Duty.
Oh, you reckon? I mean, Call of Duty is a pretty simple game when you break it down. Shoot bad guys. Like, you know. I mean, I get what you're trying to say. You're sort of trying to draw a bit of a distinction.
There's more effort into producing.
Yeah,
like
I get what you mean. You're drawing a bit of a distinction. I get it. You're drawing a bit of a distinction between, I suppose, AAA $100 million games and Candy Crush. But at the same time, you know...
Because, like, no. Okay, here's the point I'm trying to make. You might be right, like, when you're talking about raw numbers, that PC gaming is a bigger market. But companies like EA, companies like Activision do not care. Because, like I said, most of that money, like when it comes to AAA games and stuff like that, they do better on consoles.
Not necessarily.
Because, like, I look right now, like most of the games that are like the new games that are released, more people play it on consoles than PC.
But remember that when PC is a digital only market, they're making a lot more money from digital sales on PC than they would on PlayStation, for example.
How so?
Well, when you sell digitally, you don't have to pay for production, and distribution and things like that. You know, the vast majority of the money goes to the publisher or developer.
Yeah, but they also like if they wanted to, they could go digital. Like they don't have to have a physical market.
No,
like they don't have to release their games on physical. There are a lot of companies that do not.
No, but they do it because there's still a market for that. But what I'm saying is that,
and it makes them money.
Yeah, but you know they are much happier with digital sales. No publisher would say, yeah, buy the physical copy. But what I'm saying is, even when you look at raw sales, you know, a lot of games make a lot of money on PC. I'm pretty sure Alan Wake made all of its production costs back within about 2 days when it was released on Steam. Steam games generate a lot of money.
They definitely do, but I feel like more money goes into PlayStation, Xbox than Steam does.
No. Steam makes a lot more money than Sony or Microsoft.
Because, like I said, like when we're talking about the PC versus console market, at least in 2015, I'm not sure about 2016, it might be a different number, but I remember this because I actually made a specific video dedicated to this topic. There was basically, I think, console gaming generated $25 billion in 2015, and PC gaming generated like $32 billion. The thing about consoles is that most of the money, the majority of the money that goes into consoles goes to like these games that we're talking about, like the multi-platform games, exclusive games, whatever the hell. But the thing about with PC, $32 billion, okay, $8 billion alone is social gaming and Candy Crush or whatever, so automatically that's less. And then you have all these free-to-play MMOs that literally anyone can run. So none of that is related to Steam at all, is what I'm trying to say.
I think you're underestimating that Steam makes a lot of money. But again,
it makes a lot of money. I just don't think it makes as much.
Well, but it's a bit of an unfair comparison to bunch PlayStation and Xbox and presumably Nintendo in against Steam, and then act like that's 3 platforms against one, and Steam makes tons of money. That's why Valve don't even make games anymore, because they're making so much money off of Steam.
And they don't know how to count.
You know, games like XCOM 2 and Civilization from Firaxis this year, they did really well. They sold really well, and they didn't necessarily sell like 10 million copies, but they made a lot of money because of the fact that it's digital distribution, and that they sold quite well.
Apparently, XCOM 2 is not going to be PC exclusive.
Nah, it's on consoles now, I think, but I'm talking about for most of the year when it released.
You have to admit, though, it's a good thing when like games that are on PC like do go to console.
Yeah,
it's a good thing. Play it, and in the long run, they do make more money. If a game is successful enough, there should be no reason why they wouldn't move it to console, especially if it's a game like XCOM.
Yeah, know? I mean it's definitely a good thing. But a lot more people buy it on PC just because of the fact that it's a complicated game. It's the same with Deus Ex. We don't know the sales numbers yet, but I know that Human Revolution sold best on PC. There are certain multi-platform games that do sell a lot better on PC.
But even like Battlefield 1, which is like probably like one of the most popular PC first-person shooters, it does considerably better on one platform alone, not just both consoles. You know?
Yeah, but
like right now, there's like 20,000, 100,000 on Xbox One alone.
But what about Overwatch,
you know?
for example?
What about Overwatch?
I'm pretty sure it's sold really a lot better on PC than consoles.
You know, I'm not too sure about that actually. Like, I was trying to look up numbers for that, and I couldn't really find any solid numbers.
Well, it's going to be a bit hard considering you had to buy it from. It has to go through BattleNet, and there probably weren't a lot of physical sales on PC.
Probably not.
But I'm pretty sure it would have sold better on PC because this is Blizzard we're talking about.
I don't think it would be it wouldn't be like as huge as it is now. Obviously, if it wasn't a multi-platform game.
Yeah, but I mean, I think putting it on consoles. I mean, they made money off of it, but their main market is PC.
Their main market might be PC, but I don't know.
And the main market for Overwatch, I think, is PC.
I'm not too sure. Like, you might be right, but I can't say for sure because, like I said, I can't find any numbers at all.
Yeah, but this is Blizzard. They're a PC developer for the most part.
Well, Overwatch is pretty popular in the console community for sure.
Yeah, maybe.
I know for sure.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Like I said, I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm saying I simply don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I just don't know.
Yeah, no, that's all good.
You could be right. If you send me something, I'll be like, you're right. But
yeah. Wow. We don't know the numbers. I'm just saying that's what I would think. We've gone about 40 minutes over what I intended.
I'm sorry, my bad.
No, that's all good. But yeah, I think it was a fairly reasonable debate.
All right.
I'm glad you actually did it.
Everything.
Yeah, I'm glad you actually did the debate, unlike some people.
Yeah, no, I understand. I'm always viewed in like a negative light, but I came on here, I did the debate, whatever.
Yeah, no, that's good. Thanks for having the debate. I had fun.
Okay.
All right, I guess you can just sign out or whatever, and then we can wrap it up.
All right. Well, I think we had a pretty decent debate. If anything, I've proven from my debate with Barry and my debate with Fringy over here is that I am actually capable of having a civil and reasonable discussion with people, unlike most of the people that are also accused of being console fanboys, that block everyone on site and do not want to debate anybody. I'm willing to debate people. Fringy over here was the one that challenged me. Bullet Barry challenged me, and I accepted. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna make these points that I make and not try to at least attempt to back them up, because I think that's a stupid thing to do, to just say all this shit and not even try to back it up. So that's what I did over here. A lot of people, most people, because I'm sure your subscriber base is mostly PC, I'm sure most of them are going to definitely disagree with most of the things I have to say, at least, which I understand. But I try to at least hope that I made at least my position clearer to you and your subscriber base and to the gaming community, because I've been getting a lot of negativity over my position that I've held. So that's pretty much what I got to say. If you have any closing thoughts, I guess you could say them too.
No, I think I think the debate kind of speaks for itself, I guess, in terms of what opinions people come to on who made better points or whatever. But I think more it was more about actually trying to you got to talk to people if you want to find some middle ground and things like that. And plus, I think
we did do that.
I think debates are kind of good for show as well, for people to watch.
It's good.
Yeah, exactly. But thanks for hopping on and having the debate. And thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.